it's great to have you here. I really appreciate not just you taking time out of your very busy day at the White House here at the Bitcoin conference, but to spend a few minutes with us. We really appreciate that.
No, absolutely. Thank you, Fred. It's a pleasure to be here.
You're doing all this great work for the industry. I know you guys have the stablecoin, the Genius Act teed up, ready to go. What do you think the impact of that is going to be?
It's really monumental. First and foremost, I don't think it should be lost on anybody. We haven't had bipartisan legislation move out of Senate banking and actually get passed since 2018. I think our Democratic colleagues certainly understand that the United States needs to lead the charge in terms of updating our current financial systems. I've said repeatedly throughout this conference, everything else has evolved, right? The ways in which we communicate, the technology that we use, the ways in which we move money really hasn't. And I think that's shocking to a lot of people. But what Genius does, it permits instant settlement times, more cost-effective payments, more transparency. It secures U.S. dollar global dominance for decades to come. And, this should be the least partisan piece of legislation that ever moves through Congress. So, we feel very optimistic about where things stand. I think we picked up some 15 Democrats on the cloture vote. Hopefully next week we'll get this thing passed. We'll move it to the House and put it on the president's desk to be signed. The capital injection that goes into the digital assets ecosystem as a result of stables is enormous. I think that you're looking at probably an industry going to $15, $20 trillion, because what this does is it establishes really the foundation for all the exciting things that we've dreamed of. Tokenized public securities, 24/7 markets. If you want to access U.S. capital markets, you're going to have to use a dollar-backed stable. And this is what positions the United States to be the global leader. And in reality, we should be pushing this change. We should be at the forefront of adoption of digital asset financial technology and really leading the charge globally in that. It'll protect the U.S. economy. It'll certainly create innovation here in the United States, and that's something that we should all be excited about.
That's great. Obviously, anything that helps the price of Bitcoin helps all of us in the Bitcoin industry.
Well, that's right. I think that too, with this capital injection, being able to move in and out of different asset classes at will, naturally, Bitcoiners will benefit from that. People will be purchasing Bitcoin in large amounts, as they should. We've talked about repeatedly that we view Bitcoin as digital gold for all the reasons that we've laid out over the course of the past week and moreover, really over the course of the past few months. It's commodity, not a security, intrinsic stored value, finite. All the things we look for on the decentralization side. David likes to say that Bitcoin has the immaculate conception. I get asked all the time too, as we set up the strategic Bitcoin reserve, it's like, how much Bitcoin do you want? And I think that's a very silly question that journalists ask. We want as much Bitcoin as we can possibly accumulate. Now, obviously, we have to do that in these budget neutral ways. But I think that there's many creative ideas out there that we can act on.
And, one of the great opportunities, I think, especially that solves two issues. One is helps the government accumulate Bitcoin and helps Bitcoin miners establish more hash rate in the U.S. is to partner with the U.S. government using energy potentially as a way to generate Bitcoin for the strategic reserve.
No, I think that that's a phenomenal prospect that we should certainly be keen on acting on. As we flesh out these ideas amongst the interagency working group, which was established in the president's first digital asset CEO, the president likes to say he has a lot of high IQ people in his cabinet, and I think he's certainly right about that. So we'll work with Commerce, we'll work with Treasury, Secretary Lutnick, Secretary Bessent, to find these creative solutions. But I think that a public-private partnership between the miners could be a phenomenal way to accumulate Bitcoin for the reserve.
Well, we certainly look forward to being part of that.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your service.
Thank you, Fred.